In an old Victorian warehouse in the middle of the English countryside, surrounded by woodland, my new art studio is taking shape. Hello again, it's Claire. I missed you. Now let me bring you up to speed. As some of you will know, in 2020, as my art career grew, so did my need for studio space. During months and months of lockdown, I made my home office work until restrictions lifted and I was able to move into a super cute studio in an old renovated barn. You guys came on that journey with me, yet over the next 6 months, I quickly outgrew the space and went on the hunt for a new art studio. Back in March, I found my new space. An old Victorian greenhouse factory on the Kent and East Sussex borders. This was a new venture, a community of artists and makers, and I instantly fell in love. I took a unit the same day with the goal of working with the team to create my dream art studio space. The Renovation Diaries, Part 1. So back in March when I first got the space, it was a third of the size, an empty shell with a lot of promise. Hopefully by the end of today's video I can show you just how much has changed since then, but let's start at the beginning. I knew due to delays in shipping and long wait times on building materials that the full expansion and renovations couldn't start properly until July. So with plans in place but on pause, I began by putting my stamp on the existing unit. I'm getting ahead of myself, but I always knew that phase 2 would come with windows. I've been excited about windows since day dot. But with that would come the surrounding woodland and nature. If you know my work, you know that nature is an important part of my art practice, and with interior aesthetics, I find natural tones balancing. I wanted to eventually create a calming, creative space that connected to the building's history and its natural surroundings. This helped when picking phase 1 paint colours. Green 05, a dusty olive green beauty, and white 03, a soft off-white with warm undertones. By April, the existing space had come a long way, but really we were still only skimming the surface. The studio had electricity, was clean and painted, but everything was just in temporary positions, either leaning, balanced or convenient. And I was very busy with a number of different commissions and projects, so just needed the space to be usable. But I knew before too long I would be moving everything out again for the start of the full expansion and renovations. By early July, we were still waiting on a lot of materials. However, from what we did have, structures started to take shape and the promise of something new was on the horizon. At the end of July, materials had arrived, my projects had finished, and we finally got the green light for phase 2, the expansion. First order of business was to clear the studio, wrap artworks, and prep the space. It's now early August and we're facing an unusually wet summer, even for England. This has delayed certain aspects of the project like the double window install, but knock-through and construction are well underway. Since we last spoke, the skeleton framework for the expansion has gone up. The apex windows have been built and welded into place in the building's original steel struts. And after a 6-week wait, my aluminium picture frame windows have finally arrived, with the hope exploratory window holes can be opened up in the building framework next week. Hello and welcome to Me, present day me, with the studio update. I feel like so much has happened already, but I feel like it won't look like much to you. I think most of the big changes will happen in next week's video, but I wanted to bring you up to date on where we are so far. The rain has finally lifted. Storm summer, which I have coined it, has finally vanished, thank God, and the British summer is now gracing us with some sunshine, which, you know, is much needed, and much needed when you're cutting holes in buildings to put windows in. So windows are going to be happening as of tomorrow. As you know, I'm in a workshop. Sorry if you can hear workshop noises, but that's the reality of studio life. So we're up to, you will have already seen that the double height space is underway, under construction. We have started cutting out the hole that divides the two spaces, which will be my archway between the lower level and the mezzanine level. Today I'm also going to map out where the window is going in the existing space, and I also have all of my paint colour samples from Lick, which I will show you, and I'm going to be putting a poll over on my Instagram to vote to help me pick my colour. Everyone at the studio has been saying they look like the same colour, but to me they look super different. I love colour, as you probably already know. And I'm picturing a rustic, warm, stone neutral, which will sit alongside the grey windows. I obviously have green in the other space, but when I have the windows in, the green from the woodland outside will naturally come through, so I think that will tie the spaces together really beautifully. Anyway, I'm rambling, so much has already happened, so let me update you on anything that I haven't covered in the video already. So we're now here in the double height space. By the start of next week's video, we will have hopefully clad the roof and ceiling and the opening in the wall that I'm currently using for access. Then if we walk around into the old space, I can explain what's happening next. So you saw the exploratory cuts being done. They have been made in this side of the wall, but they also need to be done from the other side of the wall. This will then allow it to be ripped through. This should be happening tomorrow, and this will then become the archway between the two spaces. Also, we have some old warehouse doors which are floating in the air 2 stories up, but it gives you a good glimpse as to roughly what the view will be when I do have windows. In the existing space, I chose a floor-to-ceiling window that would allow a full cross-section of trees, blowing in the wind like a moving screen in the green wall, and an elegant cut of light to fill the space. So much is about to change. In next week's video, it's all windows, walls and paint, the biggest evolution yet. If you are new here, welcome. I hope you will subscribe, and I will see you all next week on the Renovation Diaries.